Hey guys, welcome to Monner's Market, or hopefully welcome back to Monner's Market if you are already subscribed to my channel. If not, this would be the perfect time to reach down and click that subscribe button. Make sure at some point through this video you give me a big thumbs up, and I would love it if you would share this with others. But today I'm going to do two wood signs that are, they say they're 18 inches, but they really measure out to about 17.5 inches. And then two other wall hangings that I'm going to be doing with pictures that I got from the Dollar Tree. The first things I'm going to show you are the two that I got from the Dollar Tree. Now these are fairly large. I want to say they're like 10 or 11 inches round. But the first thing you have to do is take off this little metal piece because we're going to be painting this. But we want to save it because I'm going to put it back on. And then I just took my sander since I had it handy from the other two wall hangings that I'm going to be doing with the wood signs, and just went ahead and done it. Then I want to make sure that I cleaned up my little piece of metal really good. Oops, sorry about that. That was my door. And then I learned this trick from another YouTube DIYer. And I cannot find her name to save my life. But as soon as I find it, I am definitely going to link her in the bottom. And then if it's you that does this, please comment below and let me know, because I want to make sure you get all the credit in the world. So I take the Mod Podge, and I'm going to do it two ways. And there's a reason for that. I'm going to try her method. Her method is to put the Mod Podge on, let it dry completely, then add your paper and iron it, and it's supposed to come out smooth. Well, as you'll see with this, the way I'm doing it and putting it on while the Mod Podge is wet, it literally never comes out smooth. But I thought, let me, just for my sake, let me do it both ways. So then I take my sander and just go around the edge and sand it all down, and you get the best finish like this. It is so smooth when you use the sander. See, I'm still trying to push out those bubbles, and there's still like a ton of bubbles from the wet Mod Podge. But I just go around and make sure that I get everything good and sanded and ready to go. Trimming off that top there. Now I'm putting the top back on, and I'm going to take some black acrylic paint and just sort of distress around the edges across the front. And then I'm going to also go in with some white acrylic paint and just add a little bit more. I felt like it was pretty dark, and I just wanted a little bit of contrast there. So now I'm taking my sign that is already dry. The Mod Podge is already dry. And the lady who I learned this from uses parchment paper, but I have a heat press, so I happen to have these little silicone mats or whatever they're made out of to put like on my shirt whenever I go to press it. So that's what I'm using on the top of this before I iron it. So I place it down and iron it, and let me tell you something, I was blown away. There is not one single wrinkle, well, that's a tongue twister, in this whole thing. So I reached down and grabbed the red one, and I thought, I wonder if it would get the wrinkles out of this one. And dadgum if it didn't work. Look at that. Smooth as a baby's butt. I was so excited. So it was a thought after I started ironing this. I didn't even finish the first one. I'm like, well, let me try the red one. But oh my God, it works so perfectly. And I love, love, love the smoothness that I got from this. Even that red one that I did and put it on wet, I was able to go back and iron it, and sure enough, it was just as smooth as it can be. So once I finished with this one, don't you just love that deer paper? I'm using wrapping paper for both of these that I got from Michael's, and I got it, I want to say it was 50% off or maybe 40% off, but I got it for just a couple of dollars a roll, and there is a lot of paper there. So I can use it for a lot of projects or a whole lot of packages. But with this one, I took my brown Waverly truffle paint to distress the edges with, because it just went a little better than the black did, since the colors were more brown in this one. Put my little top back on, and then I started making some bows for both of them. Y'all, I have to laugh at myself sometime. I sat right there and told you I used brown paint to distress this with, and I didn't. I used white, obviously. I sure thought I used brown, but it's not in eyesight right now, so I totally forgot. And you'll notice I added a little bit of music. I figured out how to put music on here, so now y'all don't have to hear me run my mouth as much. Clearly, I need to learn how to find the good music. I haven't done that yet. That was about boring. But anyway, maybe by the time I'm through with this video, I'll have found the good music. So I just continue along until I get the bow on both of my little bulbs. I keep wanting to call them bells, but they're bulbs, Christmas bulbs. And then I'm done. And that is the easiest, simplest project. Now, I did go back on this one here. I found a little deer ornament, and the jury is still out on whether I'm going to keep it on there or not. I thought it was cute, but my husband didn't like it at all. And then on the red one, somewhere in my stash of stash, there are Christmas signs that are made out of metal that say believe and peace and something else that would go perfect right in the middle of that right there. And I can't find them right now. So once I find them and take a picture of it, I'll show you. But look how cute these turned out. And like I said, they're a good size too. So I was pretty proud of the way they turned out. Now I'm going to work on my 2 wood signs. And the key to any sign that you are going to be stenciling is a good sanding. If you don't get a good smooth finish, then you are not going to get a good stencil on your wood. You're going to have bleeds, and you're going to be upset, because then you're going to have to sand it all down and start over. And I know this from experience. So I just sanded them really, really good, got me a good smooth surface, and then I painted them. So I am out of my Waverly white chalk paint for now. And I went to Winn-Dixie. Lord, that's our grocery store, y'all. Ignore that. Went to Walmart to find some, and all I could find was the white apple barrel acrylic paint, which actually worked fine. I'm just used to the chalk paint, but I wasn't mad at it. I mean, it had good coverage and worked just as good as the chalk paint did, and it's actually way cheaper. So I might have just found me a little shortcut. I don't know. Again, the jury is out on that, so we'll see. But anyway, I painted it with the white Waverly. No, I'm so used to saying that. I painted it with the apple barrel acrylic paint. Then I took my stencils and I weeded the first one out. And this Mrs. Claus Bake Shop was my absolute favorite. I found this on Etsy and fell in love with it. And the picture I found it on was actually square. Now, if you watch right here, I forgot to weed a part of this out. So I had to go back in and weed it once I took it off of the backing, which is no big deal. It still works just fine. it's just an extra step that I had to do. So if you ever peel your stencil and you have forgotten to weed something, don't panic, because it's an easy fix. So anyway, I took this bake shop stencil and put it down, and I burnished it really, really good. That's another key too, is you really got to make sure that your stencil is pushed down into your wood super good. And then that way you won't have any leaks or runs or bleeds or whatever you want to call them. It's all the same thing. So I took some black acrylic paint from Apple Barrel, because the one I saw had sort of a gray finish to it with some black, and it just looked like it was 100 years old. It just looked really, really old. So I took the black paint and filled my stencil in. Oh, let me tell you something too. You see those two long blank lines? In the original stencil, those were candy stripes, like candy cane stripes. But I could not get them suckers to weed out for nothing. And I finally gave up and just pulled the whole strip out and thought I would just go back in myself and make the lines, which is what you'll see me do in a minute. I thought about leaving it plain and doing two thick black lines, but I really thought it would take away from the beauty of the original picture I saw. And on the original picture, it had some thin lines, some thick lines, and just very sporadic. So I thought that would be easy enough to duplicate. And I was pretty happy with the way it turned out, so I'm not complaining. But once I got it all painted and it dried, I took my stencil off and went ahead and finished, getting everything out. And then I took a sand block, and I want to say it was probably maybe a 200 grit. It was pretty fine, because I wanted it to have sort of an old look, but not just destroy the paint that I just put on there. So I sanded it all down, and then I made sure to go around the edges with a little bit stronger grit, which was I think like an 80 grit that I did around the edge to distress that even more. And then I took some of the same black paint with a round sponge brush and just made these marks that you're seeing. Now I did get some of them a little bit too dark, so I went back in with that same sanding block and lightened them up a little bit. And in the end, I was extremely happy with the way it turned out. It was very close to the picture that I originally saw, and I was tickled to death. So once I got it done, I went in to make my bow, and instead of making a regular twist tie bow like you would on a shoe string, I took some strips of different, four or five different ribbons, and made two strips, and then I crossed it over like an X. I don't know what these bows are called, but I'm just calling it a raggedy bow, because it's just kind of raggedy looking when you're done with it, but really pretty at the same time. So I took some colors that sort of matched the colors that I was using in there. And don't ask me where these ribbons came from. Some of them I've had forever, but if I had to tell you, it was either from the Dollar Tree, the Dollar General, or Walmart. So I made my little raggedy bow, and it was cute, but then I found that it needed something else in the middle to hide that zip tie. So I went and made me a little Sammy bow with the yarn that I got from the Dollar Tree that was the same color as my paint. Well, it was the same color as my paint once I got it all distressed. It was sort of a beige, and there it is. And I was tickled pink whenever this was done. Please make sure you tell me in the comments what you think about this, because I want to see if y'all think it's as cute as I do, or am I just swelling my own head? All right, now the second one that I did is a Farm Fresh Christmas tree sign. And everybody and their brother is doing the Farm Fresh Christmas tree signs. But that's okay, because now Monner's Market did one. And I'm kind of proud of that one too. But y'all, nothing beats that Mrs. Claus Bake Shop one, in my opinion. I just am patting myself all over the back with that thing, because I love the way it turned out. And like I said, I'm going to have a hard time selling that one. I think might keep that one for myself. It just depends. But anyway, I'm just going to go through here and finish weeding this out, and once I get it weeded out, then I will put my stencil on my board and get it painted. But with this one, I'm going to use a couple of different colors of paint. I wasn't too sure when I decided to do that if it would work or not, but I mean, it turned out pretty good. But again, leave me in the comments and tell me what you think. I always say leave me in the comments and tell me what you think. Leave me what? Leave me a comment and tell me what you think. It's probably how I should say it, because when I go back and listen to it, I'm like, that sounds so stupid, Brenda. But you get the drift. Just let me know what you think.
Merry Christmas, darling. We're apart, that's true. But I can dream, and in my dreams, I'm Christmasing with you. Holidays are joyful.
So let me just tell you real quick. I used the truffle on the top, moss on the trees, and spruce, pine, and fir. And then I used flag red on the Christmas trees. And then on the bottom, I wrote it. The letters were in brown, and then the two little stripe thingies there were in the black. So I just wanted to tell you what colors I used on that. Once I got it all painted and it dried really good, I went and took my stencil off. Now, when I took my stencil off this time, it took some of the paint off on my board. So you will see me go back in with the different colors and fill it in. That's what I'm doing here. I'm filling in with the red, and then I'll go back in and just have to touch up everything. You can't really see it with this shot, but it was very, very bad in person. And I could see it. It was pretty messed up. So that's me going back in and just trying to fill in. That's one thing about it, is it was an easy fix. It was easy to just go back in with my colors and fill it all back in. Correct that mistake without too many problems.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die. Hey, swing those hips around. Can't stop, roll back down. My ladies, short, tall, thin or wide, always down and ready to ride.
Y'all, I fought with that bow and could not figure out a way to get those tails to hang down without covering up half the sign. So I just turned them and flipped them and tucked them in there to make them look like they belong there. But this is the second sign, and now here we are with the little deer and my little red plaid sign. I'm so proud of these things. And last but not least, my Mrs. Claus bake shop, not bakery shop. And I just love the way all four of these turned out. So let me know in the comments what you think. And If you're not a subscriber already, like I said in the beginning, I'd love to have you join us. I am growing slowly, but I only post once a week, so I'd probably get more if I posted more, but I just don't have the time. But let me know what you think. Join our little family here. Tell everybody else about us. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at Moners Market. And also, like I said, here on YouTube. But all three of them, you can find me at Moners Market. But thank you. God bless you. And I guess we can officially say happy holidays now.